Good afternoon, Funseekers. How y'all? Not my usual intro, I know, but I'm kind of using today's philosophy video to pay homage to the the radio legend Ludlow Porch. Uh, you guys know that I have been doing a series on how I unwind, uh, or a sub series of my philosophy videos on how I unwind. The Ludlow Porch show has been a part of my life since I was 5 years old. I told this story on the show once, and I'm gonna tell it here. As a child with a physical challenge, I was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital a lot as a kid, and I had to have about 6 or 7 surgeries. I didn't, being the age that I was, I really didn't understand what was going on, and it quite frankly scared me the first couple of years. Um, well, one day, the one of my nurses was listening to the radio, and she was listening to a gentleman named Ludlow Porch. Now, if you know Louis Grizzard, anybody in the South knows Louis Grizzard. Louis is or was Ludlow's half brother, I think. Um, Ludlow was a humorist in his own right. Ludlow was a radio show host in his own right. Um, in fact, I don't know whether you guys can see this because I don't know whether my camera is picking it up. But as you guys can see, I am a card carrying wacko. Now, wackos are his, were his loyal listeners. Um, we're a band of merry people. Um, now I started listening to the show when I was 5 years old, and I kept listening to it. From it, it was on 5 days a week, from 9:07 till noon. Um, obviously, I couldn't listen to it when I was in school, but during my summer breaks, that's what made my summer. I couldn't go on vacation like a lot of quote unquote normal kids because I was busy having surgery. Um, but and if that nurse is watching this video, I don't know. She's probably retired by now. For the time I bit you for trying to take the radio away from me, I'm sorry. I was young, but I'm not sorry because you tried to take the love away from me. Sorry, but like I said, Ludlow Porch, the Ludlow Porch show was a staple in my life, just like uh Sesame Street, a Captain Kangaroo. because along with knowing Big Bird, Snuffleupagus, uh, Captain Kangaroo, Mr. Green Jean, and stuff like that, I also knew who Ludlow was. I knew who Choo Choo Man was. I knew who the Round Man from Mikosuki was. Um, you, 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 you name it, I knew it. Now, um, let's fast forward a couple years when I had just come out of I had either just come out of high school. Yeah, I had just graduated from high school. I caught No, let's go back to another story. Excuse me, y'all. This is getting jumbled up, but like I said, Ludlow has been a part of my life for so long that I can I can kind of jump back and forth. Um, let's go back to when I was 10 years old. Called into the show, and Denny Ainsworth and George Crowley, the producers of the show, probably don't remember this, but I called into the show, but I didn't call in using my name. I called in using the name Ted. Um, only called in once because my mom was listening. And at the age of 10, 11 years old, you really don't want your parents listening to any of. But call in, and I told Ludlow that I was starting my own business. At 10 years old, what did I know about starting my own business? But he listened, and at the end of it, he said, "Get married." But he listened and he gave me encouragement, and he was just always there. Because I remember one story, and I think George told this. And George, I'm tagging you in this. In fact, I'm going to tag Denny in it too, and a couple other my wacko friends, wacko buddies. And don't get offended when I say wacko, because wacko is actually what he called his loyal listeners. Um, I'll get around to the rest of the story in a moment. Um, Now, after he listened to me and after he said get married, I just laughed. And ladies and gentlemen, with all the surgeries I had been through, to have that laugh was almost a miracle in itself, because I would speak, but it was very, very. I didn't want to do anything. I was depressed. I would see my friends, you know, going off to summer camps and whatnot, and because of me being because because of me having the physical challenges that I had and the surgeries that I was having, I couldn't go. And it bothered me. But Ludlow, Mr. Porch, kept me from being depressed. I mean, I called in the show once, but I guarantee you, I listened every day. Every day of the summers that I had, I called in a couple times, and a couple times I would sneak my radio into school. And at the time, and I'm dating myself here. at the time, you had the radios that looked like the Walkman players, where you could plug the headphones in there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, uh, my teachers would think that I was listening to books on tape. No, 9:07 to noon, I was always listening to Ludlow. But if they caught me, I had the tape right where I could, stick it in the tape player and switch over. I hope none of my teachers are watching this right now. But yeah. So let's fast forward to a couple of years later. I had I had I think I was going to get my van worked on or something. And the local affiliate had pulled Ludlow off, or they hadn't. I don't know whether they didn't renew the contract with Funseekers or what, but they had pulled Ludlow off locally from the town where I was at, or from the town where I grew up in. They pulled him off a couple years before I had graduated high school. So I didn't hear Ludlow for a few years. By this time, I had thought, hey, maybe he's retired. Hey, or maybe um, something was going on. Okay, so I'm scanning through my radio settings one day, and all of a sudden, the Ludlow Porch will come on. From that day on, I kept listening. I kept listening. I kept listening. And I called in a couple times. I think I called in a week before, no, I called in a couple days before Ludlow retired. And I, he had announced that he was retiring that day. I was, I was at the shop, getting my car, getting my van worked on, and he had announced that he was retiring. Okay, this time I didn't have a cell phone. It was weird, but I did not have a cell phone. And I actually asked the secretary of the shop if I could borrow her phone because I just wanted to call in and thank Ludlow for all he had done for me and for the rest of his um, listeners. Um, and I honestly started to cry a little bit because I knew what that meant for radio. Because his sense of humor, he wasn't he wasn't the regular talk radio host. He was a humorist, and he just used his everyday life and just put it out there. Um, and put it out there in a comedic way, and his callers put their lives out there in a comedic way. Um, but anyway, what? So I called in, thanked Ludlow for all he had done. Okay. It was announced that Denny Ainsworth, his producer, would take over. and and the other producer, George Crowley, would also take over. They continued the Funseeker network for about 2 years. I think it's around 2 or 3 years. And George, Denny, if when you're watching this, if I'm wrong about something, correct me. Um, just drop a comment down below. Um, but as they continued the show, I started to call in. I started to get comfortable. Started to feel comfortable. I started to become myself again. And we're talking from the time that I was 5 years old to the time that I was probably about, let's see, I think I was about 27 when the show, when Ludlow retired. I could have been a little bit older, but I think I was 27. Okay, so we're talking about that span of time from 5 years old to 27. Ludlow to me was like the grandfather that I always wanted because I grew up without my grandfather. Um, he would give you grandfatherly advice, but it would be in a comedic way, and it would just be for somebody my age, it would be out there, but then you would get to understand it. Um, and he would do it in a comedic way. Um, now as I was saying, George and Denny continued it for about 2 years, and I kept calling in. Um, in fact, they started making fun of me, or in all in love, they started making fun of me about my dating life. Because let's be honest, at that time I didn't know. Man, I thought I knew everything, but I didn't. And I just felt like that the Funseekers Network was and still is a family. Um, Now the show's been on for some time now because of financial issues and whatnot. But George actually put together a best of Ludlow Porch CD a couple of years ago. I have I have volume one. Um, didn't get volume two if it ever came out. I'm not sure. But like I said, George, if I'm wrong about something, and if y'all have anything that y'all want to promote with Ludlow or using them, um, honoring the memory of Mr. Ludlow Porch, I'm here. Just let me know. Um, because the Funseekers Network, the Wackos, all of us were family. And it didn't matter about the color of your skin. It didn't matter about your political affiliation. None of that, none of that mattered. It was just home. It was home for a lot of people that didn't have a home. We had a home and we had someone to talk to when Ludlow was around, and even when Denny and George are here. I still talk to George every once in a while because he still makes fun of me when he sees my Facebook post. And there's a particular name of a particular movie star that we don't mention because George knows it will set me off. Denny knows it will set me off. But y'all know who it is. If you like old school humor, if you want to reminisce about the a simpler time in America, the Ludlow Porch Show was for you. And I'm doing this video, and I know it's 20 minutes long. I don't care because I don't have a time limit here on YouTube. But if you like humorists like Louis Grizzard, who I said is or was Ludlow's half brother, if you like Jerry Clower, Ludlow fits right along in there. Ludlow was a talk show pioneer. Ludlow was a talk radio pioneer, and he was honored as such. Um, and like I said, George, Denny, if y'all ever do something to honor Mr. Porch's memory again, let me know. I'd love to be part of it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. God bless. I will see some of you tomorrow for my chairbound and screamer session. And don't forget um to I'm just gonna end this the way Ludlow ended his show. I'm just gonna end this segment the way Ludlow ended his show. Whatever else you do today, ladies and gentlemen, find somebody to be nice to. Thank you guys for watching. Bye for now.